You watch 100 Mile Drive, and today I have a 2024 Ford Mach-E Select rear-wheel drive model to answer a burning question. How does this Ford Mach-E stack up against a Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive model based on the driving dynamics? Like, which one is more fun to drive? For those who didn't know, Ford now is only behind Tesla in terms of EV sales here in the United States, meaning they sell these like hot potatoes. And in fact, Ford even reduced price of Mach-E even further, meaning you can lease one today in mid $400, which puts it on par with Tesla Model Y and brings us to most important question, which is a better car to buy? All coming in this video. So first I'm gonna drive Ford Mach-E in the city to discuss the steering, suspension, overall comfort, and what is it like daily driving this car. Then I'm gonna take it on the highway to again discuss its comfort, sound insulation, and what is it like spending hours in this car. And finally, I'm gonna take it to the twisty roads to discuss its performance, balance, what does the chassis feel like, and most importantly, how does it stack up against a Tesla Model Y. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna give it a final verdict and tell you which is the better car to buy. And if this is the first time you watch a 100 Mile Drive, well, this is the channel where I say before you buy a Ford Mach-E or any other car, do not settle for a 5-minute test drive around the dealership block. Instead, rent a similar car and drive it for at least 100 miles on city streets, highway, and twisty roads to be able to answer the biggest question I'm answering on this channel: how does it feel to drive? And by the way, if you find this video kind of long, make sure to use chapters to go to different parts of this video. And first, a quick walk around this 2024 Ford Mach-E just to kind of look at its styling real quick. And as per me, this is one of the best looking EVs on the market in this segment. Definitely I like this more than the Tesla Model Y. And I think it resembles really nicely this Ford Mustang image, and they've done a pretty good job. Now, as far as the tires, the biggest surprise that I got here is that these are 225/55 R19. While they're super comfortable tires, but why they are so skinny, I'm gonna discuss that while driving. Now, another cool thing I found is this grab handle kind of, right? You push a button and then you have a handle to grab. This is really cool, not something you'll find in other EVs, but they've done it here. It's a nice element, not so much in the rear, right? You have to still stick your fingers in. But I guess that's fine. So overall, side profile looks pretty cool. And the rear, also our Mustang image. So I think designers work pretty well on this car. Some places you find like little bigger gaps like than others, but that's done by design, not because, you know, they've done something wrong. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with the styling of this car. Let's quickly look at the trunk. Now, if you want, there's a button. It doesn't go up automatically on the Select model. Huge mistake, I think. Should be standard automatic. This is your trunk size. It's not as spacious as the Tesla Model Y for sure. And now, of course, no spare. All you have is your self-repair kit, and that's all. So the trunk size is just decent, I would say. Kind of similar to Honda Ioniq 5. And again, there's no push button to automatically close it. You have to do it manually, which to me feels very weird. All right, let's do a quick door sound check. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay. It's pretty solid. Not like heavy feel, not like a premium feel, just solid. All right, let's get on the inside. Getting on the inside, closing the door, and I'm gonna immediately start the car as it's pretty hot. So first, let's talk about the quality materials in this car, right? Now, doors, this upper trim, it almost feels like this came right out of Tesla because it feels exactly the same. Soft touch, but it's not a premium material, but it feels all right. This is soft touch. Let's open the door. By the way, there's little grab handles to open the door. They actually feel kind of nice, I would say. And then this is your typical plastic, which is fine. I think it doesn't scratch as easily maybe, but I think it's about the same. Again, this part is molded really well, right? What I've been noticing, a problem in Teslas, this would be a little loose here. All right, now, where I feel they're really chipped out in this car is this part right here, the biggest, you know, the dashboard. This is all plastic, very hard, you know, piece. Here's a hard piece. I think this, if they could have done soft material, that would have felt nicer. Even though it's nicely molded, nothing creaks or rattles. Some fabric piece right here feels kind of nice. This is your plastic, but it feels like carbon fiber, but it is not. Some stitching and soft touch, and of course, This is a hard plastic as well. Now overall, you know, it's a very pleasant cabin to be in. Everything feels kind of nice and modern and does have some style to it. Your kind of chrome looking start button. What I really like about electric cars is all the cabin storage spaces, you know. There's a rubber mats here in your cup holders. You could tell they're copied, not copied or try to mimic, you know, after Tesla Model Y. You have your wireless charging pad right here for your two phones. Kind of same screen, but vertical, right? Tesla did it horizontal, we will do it vertical. Your more storage spaces down below there. So I really like this. I wish my BMW X3 had this much storage space. And then you lift this up, there's more spaces right here for all your stuff, like your GoPro and your wallet and whatever you want. You close it and it's nice. Now, as far as seats, very soft seats. I was pleasantly surprised. This is your base Ford Mach-E Select. Look, I can press on this. This feels very nice. There's a very nice seats to be in. And they actually feel quite kind of high quality, I would say. So good, you know, seats to spend time in. Now, as far as the screens, right? What Tesla Model Y has been criticized, or Tesla in general, is not having this front screen, well, or head-up display. So if you really want the front screen, then Ford has it. Now, as far as the screen, it's not as responsive as Tesla's for sure. I found it lags many times. Once it loads things a few times, then it's kind of quick. But when you look, this takes time now. Whatever it's doing, it's taking time. And it's not even the internet stuff. It's just your internal stuff. So it's kind of laggy. Your climate control stuff, for the most part, it's fast. Another thing I like about this car, which I criticize Tesla, look, one pedal, all right? I can enable it, I can disable it. Why Tesla cannot provide this to us? Why it has to be, you know, always regen on? And then you have your whisper mode, engage mode, which is your comfort mode, and unbridle, your sport mode. That's what we're gonna try all this. So overall, it's very similar kind of layout as in your Tesla. You can see that, but of course the Tesla screen I found to be a bit more crispy, and of course you have a lot more features available in your Tesla. So enough of this. Now let me quickly jump into the rear seats just to talk about their comfort. And just quickly want to show you what is it like sitting in the rear of the Ford Mach-E. I am 6'2" tall, so I'm actually sitting very, very comfortably. My head is not touching the roof. So that's pretty nice. Also, seat, just like in the front, is very comfortable. These are soft materials. You have your pull-out, you know, centerpiece here, and then you can lean on it, and you can definitely spend hours in this car. Now, as far as the legroom, it has decent legroom here. Now, the seat is kind of reclined a little bit backward, but I am pretty comfortable here, just fine. Now, of course, you don't have your panel roof. Some say this is nice as there's no heat, right? There's cushion here. So you're obviously very well protected from the sun, but it does not feel as premium. And this is what your doors look like here. It's kind of curvy and nice. So I can definitely spend hours in this car. And first I'm gonna drive Ford Mach-E in the city. I'm gonna put the car in unbridle mode just to get a little sense of the acceleration. We have one pedal driving in, no cars behind. We put the D mode and let's go. All right. And another funny thing, this car has some electric sound. It's not loud, like in BMW, it's a little louder, but it's kind of fun. All right, just to get a sense of acceleration. Now, overall, this car has 0 to 60 around 6.3 seconds. That is slightly faster than 6.6 that the Model Y has for standard range, around 6.4, 6.3 for the long range rear wheel drive. So it's about the same. Overall, it does feel pretty decent, I would say. So stop right here and let's just floor it. Let's go. All right, yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty decent for this car. Now, I'm gonna mention those tires many times throughout my review, and one of them is that during even not so aggressive launch, you will see slight slips on these tires. Now, like I said, they're skinny, 225. I'm not sure why Ford did that, because putting like 235 or 245s would definitely benefit this car in terms of the better grip. Okay, another stop. And then let's do one more acceleration. All right, let's go. Yeah, and I feel tires slightly slipping. It's kind of weird, honestly. Otherwise, it's pretty satisfying acceleration. This is more than what most people need. The other thing I want to quickly talk about is the brakes in this car. And brakes, you know what, are pretty strong actually. Let's take this corner, and then let's say we're gonna stop right here. Yeah, you press on them and they stop. They grip really, really well. I like that. Brakes are pretty strong in this car. Now, you can do one pedal driving, which I have right now. You can disable that. But either way, you press on the brakes and you can even hear car stopping. So again, if we had wider tires, I think it would provide even better grip. So, but brakes feel pretty strong in this car. I like that. Now, next, let's talk about steering in this car, right? Now, steering, let's go back to the engage mode. That's your comfort mode. And then if I want, I can remove one pedal driving, just to kind of give a sense of flowing in this car, right? Like it's flowing right now, and I can just brake right here. Yeah. So steering in this car is kind of on the light to medium. It's not as direct. In Model Y, steering is way more direct than in this car. So this car, you could tell it's more of a city kind of cruiser, even though it has athletic character, which I'm gonna unpack more in this video. But overall, steering is on a lighter to medium. So this is gonna be very, very comfortable to drive for ladies, for guys. Basically, they created this sensation of very effortless driving in this car. And of course, in your unbridled mode, it tightens up a bit. Yeah, it does tighten up. Just to give you a little more resistance, especially in more aggressive corners. But engage mode is where you're gonna most likely keep it for all your needs, really. So steering is not like very pointy. Wow, the brakes just clamp so strong. In some ways, you even have your tires like, struggle, I would say, for traction. These tires are not kind of meant for this car. This car needs grippier tires for everything that this car can do. Now, and then let's talk about suspension as the next part. The first thing I want to kind of touch base is the overall feel of this car, right? This car delivers a feel of a regular car, just not having a gas engine, all right? Unlike Tesla, where Tesla is your like pure EV experience, where you feel that that low center of gravity, where you feel very direct steering, kind of almost like a go-kart steering in like Model 3. No, here they try to resemble a regular car, like mimic your regular, Ford Escape or whatever to me, this looks like Infinity in some ways. It's a bit bouncy suspension, but in a very pleasant way. I actually really like how this car just floats on the road. So you will find it very, very pleasant. And that low center of gravity that I'm gonna unpack on the twisty roads, you don't feel it as much in this car versus the Tesla Model Y, where it just you point and that car shoots. It attacks corners more than this car. So if you're looking again like your transition type of a car from your gas powered to EV, this is one of those cars that will give you that easy transition. Now, I also said the same thing about the Volkswagen ID.4. Compared to that, this has a lot more character. ID.4 is like no character. It's just like your plain EV that does everything all right. This has character to it that I'm gonna talk about more. Now let's go ahead and drive it on the bumpy roads. And now driving on the bumpy roads, just to hit all these imperfections. And honestly, this one of the most pleasing things about this Ford Mach-E is how comfortable suspension in this car. First, you have your comfortable soft cushioned seats, then you have thick 55 tires, and all that packaged with this fairly comfortable suspension. So you have overall very pleasant, I would even say premium feel in how this car soaks the bumps. I mean, hitting even this little bit deeper, imperfections on the road, and it does it very, very nicely. So definitely this car has that very good comfort level for those who are seeking for it, but at the same time, it has an athletic character, which makes this Ford Mach-E more fun than your VW ID4 and even the Tesla Model Y. Like, what I'm trying to say here is that just for your day-to-day driving, I find this Ford Mach-E to be more pleasant, more fun just to spend time in this cabin driving, especially beat up LA roads, than in your Model Y. Not Model 3. I really like Model 3 because it has the premium feel and of course that super sharp steering, but not so much Model Y. Model Y, I take it more like your kind of EV for all your needs, kind of like a necessity thing, more than enjoying the driving dynamics of your base Model Y, not the performance. Performance does things a lot more crispy, and it has very sharp acceleration and handling. So that's a car in a different category. But the base Model Y, it's not as pleasant, I would say. It does everything nice, don't get me wrong, but that premium feel is not there. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I am in my local neighborhood, just to give you more, sense of what is it like living with this Mach-E. And overall, as the feel, as a package, this is what I'm saying. Basically, it has a very pleasant steering. It's on the light to medium. It has very comfortable suspension, especially for all your little imperfections and potholes on the road. It'll feel nice. It has a pretty quiet cabin that I'm gonna unpack on the highway. What's the noise levels in this cabin? And brakes. Now, the only downside I see is, like I said, tires. In your regular driving, you're not gonna see it as much as only maybe in rainy days. Like, let's say if it rains, when road becomes a little slippery, I'm afraid that this car can slide a little more because it's very torquey. This car is very torquey for this tire. So even brakes grip a lot stronger that these tires can hold this car on the road. And I think this is one of the kind of like a negatives that I found in this car. All right, so now let's go ahead and drive it on the highway. And I'm merging the highway right now. Let me put it in unbreathe mode, right? Actually, the right car goes first. And let's merge in. Yeah, it has power. It has decent power for your on-ramps. It has decent torque. All right, let's merge the highway. And the first thing we're gonna see is what is the sound insulation like in this car. Let me get in the middle lane. We'll reduce the climate control a little bit so that it's not loud. Yeah, now it's very quiet. And let's do 65. Oh, and let's go to engage mode. Wow, it's around 63. You know what? One thing I can tell you, that sound insulation in this car is amazing. It's definitely more quiet than the Model Y. Maybe part of that because it has no glass roof. Another part of that, overall, I think sound insulation is just better in this car than the Tesla Model Y. Here's the two issues I found. First, there's definitely something going on the driver's side here. There's like, almost feels like there's a little crack. There's some excessive wind noise that comes from this side window. There's something that most likely needs to be addressed by just the dealership. The other part that I found almost a little bit annoying is that there is some tire noise that you hear in the city, highway, anywhere you go, that you used to hear in like those early 90s Mitsubishis and Hondas. I can't even describe that noise. It just comes from tires. With the higher speed is a little stronger. It could be that it's because of these tires, but these are Michelin Primacy tires, so these are pretty good tires. So I don't know if this is something from the drivetrain that is coming or what. I mean, this car has no engine noise, so everything has to be quiet. There's no quick squeaks or rattles in this car, so it's very quiet. Yet there's this little bit annoying tire noise that is coming that I think definitely should be resolved, and it's not something I expected to see in this car. Now, you also have your driving assist features, and it works fairly well. Of course, not on par with Tesla, because I found this steering wheel does a lot of correction of the steering, but nevertheless it does do the job. So this is your adaptive cruise control with the lane keeping assist. Tesla stays more centered, I noticed, compared to all the regular cars. Other cars, they do okay, but they like to wander around a little bit in the lane, and that's what this Mach-E does as well. Now there's a lane curving, and then we are curving as well. It does it fine, but it's again not as, you know, good as the Model Y. Like there's a Subaru next to me, and I don't feel as comfortable, although confident, but it does it. You know, it's there, it's available, you can use it. But the Teslas, I think, is superior to all other automakers that I've been testing so far on this channel. Now, the next thing I like to test is the mid-range power, right? Acceleration. So let's turn off this adaptive cruise control, and let's see. Yeah, this car has decent power. It's of course not as powerful as you'll find, you know, in your GT Mach-E, but to overtake cars. All right, so let's go to unbridle and floor it. Yeah, you know, it takes time. It takes its time. It's not like a torquey, like where it just throws you in your seat. Yeah, it just on a slower side, but you know, it's fine. It works for this car. So if you're looking for like a basic commuter, then this is literally all you need. And even then, I found this car is more torquey for its tires, like I said. In terms of acceleration and in terms of braking, these tires are not as grippy for this car. Also, part of it because it's heavier. This is around 300 to 400 pounds heavier than the Model Y. You know, but yet it carries its weight pretty nice. Now, how well does it carry its weight? Well, this is exactly where I'm heading, Twisty Roads, where I'm gonna unpack the performance of this Ford Mach-E. Stay tuned. And one more thing I wanted to add, guys, on the highway is that you can definitely spend hours in this car just cruising alone, because like I said, it's a very comfortable suspension. It's very flowy, slightly bouncy sometimes, but it gives a very nice feel. You have your sculptured hood, so very pleasant steering. So you can definitely spend time as a driver as well as a passenger or the rear passengers. Also, you don't have any motion sickness in this car, like you may even find in Tesla, because Tesla is a little more engaging overall, and it's only one pedal driving. Here you can, you know, toggle between one pedal driving or your standard cruising mode. So definitely you can spend time in this car. And now driving Ford Mach-E on the twisty roads. All right, let's go. I am in unbridle mode. Let's do one pedal driving and let's go. And you'll be surprised what I have to say about this car. Now, I did say it has an athletic character, right? Well, it's kind of right until you actually put it more to the test, which I'm gonna do right now. We're not gonna go fast or aggressive, and we don't have to. I'm also going downhill. Like I said, this has 225 very thin tires, and that's the huge problem for this car. They basically cannot handle anything that this car can offer it. So we're starting to take some corners. Now, for those who don't know, I bring cars on the twisty roads to basically discuss their safety. And that's the only way to see how the chassis, brakes, accelerations all work together. It's like an orchestra in the car's world. All right, taking this corner, taking one more corner. So one thing about Ford Mach-E compared to the Tesla Model Y is that, yes, there is a lower center of gravity because of the battery, but you don't feel it as much as the Tesla Model Y. And Model Y and the Tesla is the best automaker to demonstrate that. It kind of pulls the car down, where here, this car handles more in traditional way, where it kind of leans in the corner and then it gets through the corner and tires are loaded. Like you hear your tires creaking all the time, basically, even not going fast. So chassis does fairly good work in terms of like not leaning too much, in terms of keeping the car in place. Chassis also doesn't, you know, wobble, doesn't dance that much, I will say. No, that's fine. That always sees the car in front of us in the canyon roads. All cars do it. But then what happens is these tires not providing enough grip and the car feels a little heavy. So I can slide this car no problem without even going above any speed limit, really. So I wonder what happens on the wet roads, you know, or in little icy conditions. This car can be full of surprise. Not to say it's unsafe, but I found this car is not good for emergency situations. Like if somebody brakes in front of me, if I'm avoiding a pothole by any chance at a little higher speed, I can be caught by surprise. You know, if I know what I'm doing, if I know how this car behaves, which I know now, then at least I know what to expect, and that I will need to, you know, correct the car if it has a slight, you know, motion. But if you don't know, if you're just a normal driver and all of a sudden you hit with emergency situations, expect this car is gonna slide. It's gonna slide quite a bit because one is tires, second is heavy, and third, a chassis is tuned more for comfort and a more traditional approach where it does not use the center of gravity to keep it down, kind of. Yeah, so it's very easy to slide this car, really. And I'm going like below speed limit for sure, and tires are loaded. Tires are really loaded. So in one way, it's a very mixed feeling, right? And now I'm going straight. Let me show you this real quick. If I do this, the chassis does this kind of weaving motion, and that's very bad. That's very bad. That's very bad because it doesn't it recovers, but it doesn't go left and right. It doesn't like go with your steering. It actually makes this extra weaving, which tells me that in an emergency situation it can lose control. So it is unfortunate. I mean, as much as I love how this car behaves overall, like in terms of the city driving comfort, but I expected, since it's a Mustang DNA, right? It's not like a VW ID4, which actually did better probably here, being a softer car than this. I expected more from this Mustang Mach-E in terms of, you know, having more performance in terms of, you know, better balance on a twisty roads and providing more confidence in those emergency situations. All right, let me go ahead and summarize this. So there you have it, guys. I just completed driving dynamic review for this 2024 Ford Mach-E Select rear-wheel drive model, and here's my conclusion. Where it supersedes than Tesla Model Y, well, for me, looks for sure. Then the next will be the comfort of the seats, comfort of the ride in general. I really like its effortless, floating kind of drive feel. I think a lot of people are gonna be hooked on that. It's very smooth driving compared to Tesla Model Y. And I'll say that's the strongest areas. Tesla Model Y will definitely beat in its range. Well, we don't have a standard range anymore, right? It's all long range. Definitely it'll beat it in all the tech and driving dynamics, because Tesla Model Y has a very crispy steering and definitely can carry more speed through the corners. It has a very, very good demonstration of low center of gravity. So this is it, guys. This car is definitely your easy transition, like I said, from a gas-powered car to EV, where you're not gonna miss too much of a regular feel, you know, the regular car experience. But I expected a little bit more, while I was pleasantly surprised how comfortable and flowy, like I said, it is on the road. I was equally surprised how not so good it is on a twisty roads, or if you have emergency situations. Like if I brake a little bit stronger, the brakes will clamp and tires will start, you know, sliding immediately, like slipping. Same if I go through corners a little bit faster. I don't even have to go a little bit faster. Tires again will be loaded, so these are very skinny tires for this car. Now, some of you may say, well, that's what the Mach-E GT is for. Well, if I get 10,000 views out of this video, I will bring Ford Mach-E GT and see if it does these things better. Maybe it's day and night, who knows, right? I'm actually curious now to explore that as well. So let me know what you think, and if you want to watch my video on the Tesla Model Y, you can watch it right here. And guys, by the way, if you are looking for a reliable dash cam for your car, which I endorsed, make sure to check out the link in the description. It's a must thing to have in every single car. And I'll catch you in my next video.